Hi, I'm Thomas Graves, and welcome to the Black Mold of Grief. This is episode 5, and in this episode, I'm going to talk about a significant shift in my mindset that helped me heal. In 2005, I reunited with my first mom's family, and it was amazing. Reconnected and filled a lot of empty spaces and holes. And one of the things I realized was they had the same pain we had, but they did keep living. The other big epiphany I had was that my understanding of happiness was completely off. Because I had lost all of those relatives, they were the missing pieces that were keeping me from being happy. And because I lost them so young, I had no memory of them. So I couldn't figure out why I had this hole and why I couldn't ever truly be happy. So I had developed this understanding and belief that there were two kinds of happiness. There was primary happiness, which is joy for the sake of joy, and secondary happiness, which was a life of service for others, that I would find joy by volunteering on the suicide hotline, which I did, and volunteer drum instructor, which I did, and just other things. And I just assumed I just was not born with the gene to be happy. So in Pittsburgh at the reunion, I realized that that was just completely wrong, that I was born to have primary happiness, joy for the sake of joy. So I went to dinner with a friend that week, and I said all of that to him. And that night, I had a dream with Jenny. And I personally feel like it was more than a dream. But in the dream, we met for dinner somewhere in a restaurant that was halfway between here and heaven. And it was one of those things where when the dream opens, it's completely weird and different, but you exactly know everything that's going on. And so I was walking on the sidewalk up to the door, and I knew everybody in the restaurant was like Jenny and I, where one person had passed, one person was still on earth, and we were meeting to catch up, just like any other two friends that hadn't seen each other in a while. And I knew she was waiting on me. And I got really excited because I wanted to apologize to her. And I had always thought that I would have to wait till I passed away and met her in heaven to do that. And the fact that I got to do it now really got me excited. I was like, I can say this now. And so as I walked in, she was standing there and looked great. She was beaming, had this big smile on her face. And as I leaned in to hug her, it wasn't a voice, but it was just this knowing that washed over me. Do not apologize. And it was a knowing that it wasn't socially appropriate. It would be as if I showed up to a 4th of July party on the beach cookout in a 3-piece tux, or I showed up to a white tie dinner in flip-flops and swim trunks. It just was not done. It was inappropriate, and it would just kind of take everybody out of their conversations, and I would become the focal point. And so I just got that. And so I was like, all right, I won't apologize. So I hugged her, and we went, sat down, had dinner, and I told her all about the reunion, and I told her all about the primary and secondary happiness. And she, at the end, reached across the table and put both her hands on my forearm, and she just smiled really big, and she said, I am so excited for you. And when I woke up the next morning, I was thinking about the dream, and I was like, why was I not allowed to apologize? I thought that's what you're supposed to do. I thought you're supposed to take responsibility for what you say, what you don't say, what you do, what you don't do. I thought that was part of it. So I just laid there and kept trying to figure it out. And it hit me that the apology wasn't the problem. The pain that was underneath the apology was the problem. Because I was basically in an outpost of heaven, And pain is not allowed in heaven, because if you let pain in heaven, heaven's no longer heaven. Heaven becomes earth. And so that really struck me, because I realized before I see my mom and all these other folks I've lost at this point, I have to let go of my pain. I can't carry it with me. And so it isn't a question of, do I let go of my pain? It's simply a question of when. So I started envisioning like a big TSA thing at the airport out in front of the gates of heaven, where they're going to scan every memory that you're bringing in. If there's pain, you got to leave it out. And again, at that point, I realized I would have to leave a lot of my life outside the gates, and I would walk in with nothing to share. And so I decided that I would start letting go of my pain now, and that way I would have the ability to pick up happiness and joy and bring that with me, as opposed to holding on to my pain till I got to heaven, get to the gates of heaven, and then just have to let go of it and walk in empty-handed. And so that dream pushed me to heal and keeps pushing me to heal as I have more floods. With that drive to heal, I had to let go of shame of asking for help. And what I started to do is look at my mental health like my dental health. I brush my teeth multiple times a day, every day, but yet every 6 months, I still go to a professional and have them look at me to make sure I got everything right. And I do that because it prevents disease and it makes me much more pleasant to talk to. And so that's how I approach my mental health. And again, specifically looking for black mold and things to grieve, and not just death of loved ones, but small things throughout the day, because it keeps that black mold from building. And so I have no shame in asking for help and going to get help in grieving, because it is a daily part of my life. And so when it comes to the floods and the grief, people say you're never done grieving, and that is 100% true. But what I've done is I've removed the it's never over. I don't say I'm never going to be done brushing my teeth. I'm never going to be done cleaning the bathroom. I'm never going to be done taking a shower. I'm going to take a shower every day, brush my teeth every day, clean the kitchen every day. It's just part of my life that I work in as hygiene for my life. And that's the same thing with grieving and mental health. It is just part of my daily hygiene. And I've removed the factor of it, because it's just part of my life, so that I am more pleasant to talk to. When I set out to record a country version, I knew I wanted to use Annie Bosco. I had worked with her many times before, and not only is she a great country singer, but she's very versatile. She actually performed with Andrea Bocelli and David Foster, and she just has a very pure voice, and so we wanted to capture that. So it's just a simple guitar and pedal steel and just her voice. And she did a very simple, pure version of this. And we recorded it the same night we recorded Schuyler's version in the same studio. And it just captures the simplicity of the lyric and the emotion of the lyric.
If I don't make a change, I'll meet you in the clouds, and this emptiness will be all I talk about. You would understand, but I'd be ashamed if you brought your smile, and I
Thank you for tuning into the Black Mold of Grief. In next week's episode, I'm going to share about losing my dog, Leo. But in the meantime, I hope something I've said can help you bring a little more joy to your first conversation in heaven, and I hope to see you next time.